Welcome back to the G.I. Joe tutorial, the G.I. Joe American Hero tutorial. Now for mission 5. Unfortunately, General Hawk has been kidnapped. The person who was assigning you missions. And the character who me and pretty much everybody else uses to power up their weapons the most is the team leader. So you just pick any of the Joes as you see fit, but I would definitely bring either Duke or Snake Eyes, or even both. You will definitely want their high jumping ability, and you will see why. You will need it for a specific area. So I will bring both of them along. Now the Sahara Desert is kind of tough. There's not much in the way of gun upgrades here. If you just happen to fail in this mission, you don't want to worry too much about the copter. Just get rid of the copter. Is not a major threat, but the turrets shooting bullets at you from the copter will be if it just stays on screen. Just continue to walk forward, shoot anything that moves. It's a short stage. There's not much to it, honestly. Once you get to this flat surface, then you'll run into the boss. They're small, they're very semi-large transport vehicle. I would not recommend dealing with this boss with just having to punch if you happen to run out of bullets. But you may be in a scenario where you may run out of bullets during the fight. And that's mission 5-1. Now for mission 5-2. Destra will be the boss that you'll be dealing with as the boss of mission 5-3. Now, just like in all level 2 stage 2 stages, you have more bombs to set off. Now if you were to go left here, that just brings you further down, but we will come back down here shortly. Now, even though you can't see it, you are inside a wall and there are places for you to hang from. So we will come back down there in a short bit. You'll want to start off, since you start off here, you'll want to start by going to the right. There are some hidden walls that you can pass through, and then there are others that you can't. And it's a very big, very huge area. So there's 1 out of 7. If you need it, there's an extra... If you need it, there's an extra gun upgrade for one of your Joes. There's a few gun upgrades throughout this level if you need it, but you'll have to go out of your way in various places to obtain some of them. There's the third one, and now you have a transport vehicle at your leisure, which I would definitely recommend. So now you want to go back the way you came, and then move along that path going down. If you move along this path that I'm going now, by this time you should, well, not at this particular time frame, but you should have ran across 5 of them, 5 spots by now. There's another gun upgrade and some bullets if you need it. You'll definitely want to, if humanly possible, preserve your bullets and your Joes energy. You will definitely need it for the Destro fight. As you can see, I went in the wrong direction for the last one. Now, since you're using a transport vehicle, it makes dealing with this base a lot easier for planting your bombs. Now, you might think, the door to Destro is right up here, but I just went all the way around the base to plant the bombs. Fortunately, there's a spot right here where you can. There's a spot right here that basically takes you right to Destro's door. And that's stage 5-2, and now for the boss of 5-2. Now this is where you will want your high jumpers, and the main reason is because the screen is scrolling up. You'll want to use rock and roll or whoever your powered up person is to get rid of some of the area, because if the screen continues scrolling up and you're sitting there on the ground, or if you happen to fall either from the boss or during the climb, your Joe is gone for that mission. So now that you've climbed up here, now you can just make sure you're at a safe spot where you know you won't fall. Have plenty. You should have quite a bit of energy. You won't take too much damage from its bullets, which is great. Then just fire away. And after you beat him, you will have found General Hawk. And now for mission 5-3. Now, 5-3 is definitely tough. If you were to lose your powered up Joe here, you'll have either in 5-3, or if you happen to lose to Destro and get a mission incomplete, you'll have to, once again, you will have to level him up. While you won't be able to fully level your character up, there's a few power-ups worth getting. You'll at least be able to go from 1A to, I believe, 3A for a character upgrade. And I would definitely recommend, if you're not at max already for fighting Destro, you want whoever Joe you're going to use with as much of a gun upgrade as humanly possible. So you'll have missiles, turrets firing bullets, and various enemies shooting at you from various directions. And there's lots of hits. So you want to take care, hopefully not to fall in. If you get hit by one of those turrets, you want to, since this game does have some knockback, you want to be standing a little bit further on the ledge here instead of, say, here. Now, there is a chance that if you were to get knocked off of a ledge, say if you were caught unaware and a bullet happened to knock you off, you can actually save yourself, possibly, if you're able to cling to a ledge in time. But if you see yourself falling in, and if it's not the Joe that you want to, if it's the Joe that you want to keep, especially if he has a powered up weapon and not still at 1B and 1C, then hopefully you can at the very least switch to the Joe before he falls in a pit. But you won't be able to use them until either you get a mission incomplete or the mission has been completed. There's a couple of power-ups if you need it for your gun, and you'll want to tread very carefully, and if possible, if there's any bullets that happen to show up from defeating enemies, you'll hopefully want to get it if it's safe to do so. I don't recommend trying to chase after them if need be, simply because I don't recommend trying to immediately chase after them, only because you may, between that and any bullets or missiles being fired from turrets and enemies themselves, you might fall in a pit. Now, when you reach here, there are various wall missiles that will fire at you. So for the sake of this mission, I'm going to go through it normally so I can, because time is still a factor. So you just want to take your time as possible, but make sure that you're aware of your bullet count and your time as well. It's not too large of an area, but it's a lot more dangerous because you can be knocked back into a pit. Very easily. Once you get here, you now have reached Destro. Now, Destro has two forms. First, he'll be in his flying vehicle, where a missile will come out and as he tries to hit you with it, and he will be in random locations. His sword also fires a weapon spread-wise, but as you just saw, if I stand directly in front of him as he comes down to fire at me, and you're ducking, you will avoid the sword. The fight takes a small amount of practice, but the first form is okay to get used to. Now for the worst part of the Destro fight. He hops out, and you'll have these pits. You'll have this auto scroller, which will happen. There are these pits that you have to jump over while hitting them, while being able to hit them as much as possible. And his sword fires some kind of odd weapon, while not a boomerang, but it won't come back at him. But wherever you're jumping, try to be as careful as humanly possible as you're hopping over those pits, because if that item from Destro's sword hits you, it stops you in your tracks almost completely. And if you're not, and while the auto scroller goes on, there are tiny gaps, and then there's a larger gap. And if that item from Destro hits you while you're over a pit, then that will slow you. You will drop immediately into a pit. And this is also where you want to definitely make sure you do have bullets. So as long as you definitely have a powered up Joe to do as much damage as possible, and then switch to one of your weaker Joes, especially one who has high jumping, more so than the others. If you do what I did, you should be able to do enough damage to Destro without hopefully losing your bullets, and without hopefully being able to lose your bullets too much, and be able to survive without having to worry about a mission incomplete. But if you do have a mission incomplete, then you'll just be at mission 5-3, and you'll have to go over the screen over as much of the area as possible so that you can power up your Joe, which will probably be to like 3A. There's definitely not enough power ups in the level to put you to 4. 3A will be the max. And that's mission 5. Stay tuned for mission 6 and the last mission of the game. Welcome back to the G.I. Joe tutorial. We will now be covering the very last mission of the game. Now, missions 1 through 5 previously had an introduction to the area. A bomb set off a grenade to blow the base area, and then the third area was another small area that leads to the boss. In mission 6, there were only 2 missions completely.